Salutations, respected viewers. This is George from Ireland. Speaking about a perennially fascinating topic, Tomi Lahren and her unhinged rants on guns and Black Lives Matter. These two issues obviously have some crossover there. So we know Black Lives Matter, this organisation which is protesting against controversial killings of black people by police in the United States. Tomi Lahren appears to believe that no black person has ever been unjustifiably shot by the police in the United States. I wish that were so. I wish nobody of any race were wrongly shot by anyone, anywhere. But it's very hard to believe that no black person's ever been wrongly shot by the police in the USA. So watch one of her videos from several months ago, but I think it was March, school shooting in Texas, saying it was a time for healing. Having said that, she immediately launched into a furious tirade denouncing liberals and left-wingers for wanting to prevent more mass shootings. Now, what would be more appropriate than wanting to prevent more mass shootings? If it was a time for healing, she shouldn't have instantly taken this as a chance to savage her political opponents. And in fairness, perhaps there are some political opponents who also are aggressive after these things again. But, understandably, they're upset. They don't want to see people shot dead. Okay, I don't think she does either. Although when people are shot dead by the police, she considers that to be completely acceptable, absolutely nothing to complain about. Obviously, occasionally the police do need to kill somebody. But ultimately, the police are there to protect people and not to kill them. There will be very rare occasions in which the police are obliged to kill somebody in order to protect the general public. But for her, that seems to be the default setting. Police can never be wrong when they kill somebody. I've yet to hear her say that the police have ever wrongfully killed anyone in the United States. So this is a bit of what she had to say. We need to look at our families. Guns have been around for hundreds of years. We've seen a spike in routine mass shootings in the last 20. So what changed? Breakdown in the American family. The rise of absentee parents has absolutely contributed to this epidemic. That's the close of the quotation. So she's blaming this on single mothers? That they cause mass shootings? Now, I haven't seen a statistical analysis. It could be that mass shooters are more likely to come from a single-parent family than from a family where they're raised by a couple. I don't know. But supposing that were the case, that still wouldn't prove a cause and effect relationship. And of all the millions, tens of millions of people brought up by single parents in the United States, how many of them are mass shooters? I would think very, very few indeed. Supposing it was the other way around. If it were that most mass shooters came from married couples, would that make the married family an evil thing? I don't think so. So yet again, she's doing the American conservative thing of trying to vilify single parents who bring up their children often in very trying circumstances. And, so family breakdown. So parents should stay together even if they're miserable, even if somebody's abusive or one of the spouses beating up the others, right? And family breakdown often sometimes is because they're sent to prison. And it might be for a trifling offence. It could be wrongly sent to prison, convicted by a racist court perhaps, but of course that would never bother her because she doesn't appear to think that there's any anti-black prejudice in the United States whatsoever. She says there's anti-white prejudice. In fairness, there is. I don't think very much. Anyway, whites, being about 65% of the population and rather more of the wealth and all the rest of it, have more chance to mistreat the minority than the minority does to mistreat the majority. And obviously I realise that most people in the United States have got no racial aggro, don't want to mistreat people of another ethnic group. So about mass shootings, she's saying, taking away the rights of law-abiding Americans is never the right answer. Quite right, Tomi. So, would right to life count at all? Not being shot dead by the police? But she doesn't seem to think that's a problem at all. Now, Trump, her idol, has talked about taking away gun rights and doing the legal process afterwards. That was in the wake of that Florida shooting way back in February, if I've got that right. But he dropped that one pretty quick. He was just trying to appease people who would like to see some sort of sensible gun control. We are not gun fanatics, says Tomi Lahren. Well, she is. She wants really no restrictions on guns whatsoever, so far as I can see. Assault rifles, including with bump stocks, to be carried just about anywhere. Why not into banks? Why not into courthouses? Why not allow children to carry them if you really want no limitation? The Second Amendment says the right to bear arms. That's to carry weapons in modern English. no restrictions whatsoever. That doesn't hint at any restrictions, that the right shall not be abridged according to the Constitution. So I can't think of a more perfect definition of a gun fanatic than what she wants. She's against gun laws, and her logic is because criminals don't obey laws anyway. Well, Tomi, where does this get us? Well, burglars don't obey the law against burglary. Ergo, we should legalise burglary. What could go wrong? Rapists don't obey the law which prohibits rape. Therefore, we should never have a law against it. It's over-regulation. I mean, it's not going to work, is it? This is moronic. How irrational can she get? And by the way, she's someone who's in favour of this war on drugs. So now no law has got complete enforcement, but it's still worth having. It still reduces it, ideally, the level of this activity, the frequency of this activity, whatever is prohibited. If there were proper gun laws, that would at least reduce the incidence. There wouldn't be so many weapons with such killing capacity, perhaps assault rifles, bump stocks on them, and so on. So, she was against trials for these people in Guantanamo Bay. Now, admittedly, they're not American citizens, but they're still taking away rights. American exceptionalism. Are Americans the master race? That's what she appears to believe. Because they should have rights that nobody else has. Taking away habeas corpus. Imagine how she'd feel if Americans were detained without trial for years in a foreign country. Iran, for instance. She wouldn't be so happy about that. Waterboarding them, just as been done to suspects in Guantanamo Bay, which is most definitely a breach of the Convention Against Torture, Inhuman and Degrading Treatment, to which the United States is a signatory and has ratified. So warrantless wiretapping, which doesn't seem to be bothered by that at all, even though that's obviously taking away people's rights. So he says it's taken much harder. It's much harder to go after society, as he says, than have reasonable limitations on gun rights. Well, it is, but obviously she doesn't want to tackle poverty or ill health, including mental ill health, because that would be socialism, according to her. So her outrage seems to be studied. She begins quite placid, and then her temperament changes very considerably. So I don't think she's that volatile. It comes across as affected, so she's contriving this indignation about a legislative proposal. So I suppose this is performance art from her. I don't think she's a provocateur, really. I suspect she does believe what she's saying. Now, she adores and valorizes the military, literally adores it, because her boyfriend's a soldier. But people like her often saying, well, we need guns to defend liberty in case of the American Revolution, so there could be a second revolution. And in this second revolution, who would get killed? Well, it would be the police in each state, in the FBI. And she's often saying, oh, BLM, they need to take account of these police officers being killed when they go to ghettos. And police officers are killed. Obviously, feel sorry for them. I don't want any police officer to get killed. But when this second revolution she thinks may well be necessary occurs, they're the ones who are going to get killed. And the army would get killed too. Who got killed in the first American Revolution? It was the army. Okay, the British army at the time, which was the legal army at the time. I know you say, no, it was the Continental Army. But all right, I mean, according to international law, the 13 colonies, they were British territory at the time. The outbreak of the revolution recognised all other sovereign states as being British. I realised during the revolution, France, for instance, recognised the United States. So there she is, arguing for her own boyfriend being killed by an American. To fight oppression, that's what it's about. That's why they had to have a revolution. Fight oppression like incarceration without trial, such as occurs in Guantanamo Bay. Execution without trial, such as happened in the drone strikes in Yemen. An American citizen was killed by the US government on the order of President Obama. I don't know if it's happened under Trump, actually, but deliberately killed, no attempt to arrest him, just go out and kill him like that, even though they're not actually declared war. So that's execution without trial. Is that not oppression? What if a president were to order the killing of Tomi Lahren, for example, drone strike on her? Would that be okay? I don't think so. So she seems to want revolution. I don't. That's terrorism. That would be the illegal use of force for a political end. There's no clearer example of terrorism than that. So those who kill the police and the military in the United States now, they're often doing so for political motivations. That would be revolution. That would be terrorism. Now, their opinion, they consider this acceptable. I absolutely don't. Don't justify it. It's a crime. No way. They should go to prison for life. But Tomi Lahren, quite subjectively, if she thinks that revolution is warranted, then these are the people she put in the firing line. Well, so who's dangerous now?